This is a classic case of appeasement. The reason that he is even able to advance the nuclear program in the first place is because Clinton gave him the technology, the money, and the fuel. And if you give him all the technology, the money, and the fuel, and you just extract a promise from the dictator that he's not going to do anything, you can expect that the dictator's going to lie. Isn't that the fallacy
and
of this?
by the way, at the time, in 1994, when the Great Peace Deal was struck, there were people like Gene Kirkpatrick and Charles Krauthammer and William Safire screaming from the rooftops, he is going to violate this. Oh, by the way, part of the framework was he wouldn't have to allow weapons inspectors in for 5 years. William Safire, as I pointed out in my column this week, specifically said, oh, great, so this is just going to be a problem that's going to blow up in the next administration. And right on schedule, it blew up in the next administration. This is not like dealing with Tony Blair. We are dealing with a dangerous psychotic, and the Chamberlain policy has been tried for a long time, most astonishingly under the Clinton administration. I think if you were a Democrat dealing with North Korea, you ought to just shut up through this. And once again, I think Americans ought to remember, yes, we can avoid war. The way to avoid war is to surrender, and that has been the consistent policy for 50 years of the Democratic Party. It's not the recommendation I have. And the North Korea example could not be more clear. The Clinton administration gave the North Koreans everything they wanted for their promise not to build a weapons program. They were working on their nukes before the ink was dry on the agreement, despite all the fine visits, the negotiations, the friendliness, and never called North Korea part of the axis of evil, and yet that didn't work. So we at least know that doesn't work.